This video will serve as a tutorial to use your TI 83 or 84 graphing calculator to find extrema of usually a polynomial function, but it can be used for other functions that have a maximum or a minimum. I will also walk you through how to find zeros of a function, given that the process is extremely similar. I would recommend that you start by clearing your calculator, second plus sign 712, just so that you know that all the settings go back to the default settings. And then I'm going to use a fifth degree or quintic polynomial function for my example. And then I'm going to press zoom and 6 to see a graph of the function. And remember that zoom 6 gives you the graph settings: x-axis -10 to +10, y-axis -10 to +10. So zoom 6. And if you want, you can zoom in a little bit on that graph so that you can truly see the maxima and minima there. So I might zoom in is a choice, or zoom box. Let's do zoom in. So zoom 2, and you can see that that little cursor, that little pixel is blinking in the middle of the screen. That's the center of your zoom. Let's see how that looks. I can't see the whole thing, so let me zoom back out again. And this time I'll try zoom box. If you do zoom box, you have to use your that little pixel there to draw a box. So you're going to pick the two diagonal corners of the box that you want to draw. So you're just going to move it to the left and up and click enter. That's one corner of your box. And then I'm going to move it to the right and down. And this space now inside my box shows all the max and mins that I'm going to want to find, as well as all the zeros. So I'm going to press enter. And that's the graph that I'm looking for. Now, you'll notice that you see two maxima, one here and one here. And you see two minima, one here and one here. And then you see 5 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to find each max and min separately, and you have to find each zero separately. The calculator doesn't just find all of those things for you. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to start with the maxes and the mins, and I'm going to start here on the left with this maximum. And your target goal is to find the x and y values of that point right there. And so I'm going to go to second, and then the trace button above it says calc, so I want to calculate. So I'm going to do second and then trace, and I want to find a maximum, so that's choice number 4. And it's going to ask me 3 questions, and the first is a left bound. So I want to take this blinking cursor and I want to move it to the left until it goes past that maximum that I'm trying to find. So I'm just going to keep moving it to the left. And it doesn't have to go way past, just a little bit past. I'm going to press enter. And now it asks me for a right bound. Notice that I got a little triangle there. That's kind of setting up kind of like a goalpost, that's the left goalpost, and now I want to kind of set a right goalpost. So I'm going to move my cursor back to the right, just a little bit past the maximum, and I'm going to press enter, and you get another triangle up there, and that's basically saying in these two goalposts there's a maximum, and I want to find that maximum y value in that space. You don't really need to guess, but be careful that you don't look at this and think it's your answer, because it's not. These x and y values are just where the cursor is blinking. So now I'm going to press enter again. You have to remember to press it the 3rd time. And now it's telling me, excuse me, that the maximum At this point, where the cursor is blinking, is the x value negative 0.64 with all the rest of the decimals. You can round it to 0.64. And the y value is positive 2.63. And again, round it to 2 decimal places. So you're going to write maximum at negative 0.64, comma, 2.63. That's your ordered pair. Now I'm going to go through the same process. You've written that down. Now I'm going to go through the same process and find the minimum here. I'm just working from left to right, so I'm going to go from that maximum that I just found to this minimum right here. So again, I'm going to press second and then trace or calc. Now I want to find a minimum, so that's number 3. And I want my cursor to be somewhere to the left of that minimum. You could technically not move it, but I'm going to move it over just a little bit so I can see it over here, just to the left of the minimum, and press enter. Now you want the right goalpost. The goalpost is kind of up here. So I'm going to move it to the right past that minimum that I'm looking for and press enter again. There's my goalposts, and I'm saying between those two triangles, somewhere in here is a minimum y value, and the graph gets to a minimum value, and I want to find what that value is. And you remember, this is not your answer. They just want you to guess. You don't have to guess, just press enter. And your minimum here is x value 0.456, which means you're going to round it to 0.46, comma, y value negative 2.418, so you're going to round it to negative 2.42. And so on your paper you would write minimum at 0.46, comma, negative 2.42. Now you're going to repeat the process for the other maximum and the other minimum. So your other maximum is x value 1.54, y value 0.418, so 0.42. And then the other minimum. The other minimum is x value 2.64, y value negative 4.63. So your ordered pair 2.64, comma, negative 4.63. And now you have all your maxima and minima. Now you want to find the zeros of the function, and there's 5 of them. Again, you would have to repeat this process 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, I like to work my way from left to right, so I'm going to start by looking for this 0 over here. So I'm going to do the same menu, second trace, and number 2 is 0. So I'm going to press a 2, and it's again asking for left bound and right bound, so I want to put my cursor on the left and then on the right of the 0 that I'm looking for. And you have to be really careful that you don't get 2 zeros in between your left bound and right bound, because then the calculator will give you an error. All right, so now I'm to the left of my 0 that I'm looking for, so I'm going to press enter. Now it's asking for a right bound, so I'll go to the right. I'm past it to the right, and when they say left and right, I know it looks like up and down, but it's left and right on the x-axis. You're moving from left to right with your x values. So I'm going to press enter. That gives me my goalposts. Somewhere in this space there's a 0. Don't worry about a guess, but remember that this is not your answer. Your answer would have to have y equals 0, and obviously that's not y equals 0. So now I've pressed enter for the guess, and your 0 is x equals negative 0.95, y equals 0, but you can just write x equals negative 0.95. You're going to do that same process for the other 4 zeros. The next zero is x equals negative 0.15. Now I'll look for this zero here. This zero is x equals 1.275, so that's 1.28. Now I'll look for this zero over here. Now sometimes the calculator, it has to do with the pixels and computing values with pixels. This really says y equals 0. The E usually indicates scientific notation, and with the negative 12, that means it's 0.00, 12 zeros, so 0.00001, that's the one, which really essentially rounds to just 0, and the calculator just can't handle the pixels. So when you see this, just assume you're looking at the number 0. So this 0, or this x-intercept, is at 1.79. X equals 1.79. And the final thing that I'll do is look for this 0 over here. Again, I have this crazy y equals 0.0000001, which you don't need to worry about. That means 0. And your x value at this x-intercept is 3.04 because you rounded 0.3 because of the 8, so 3.04.